Hey guys, this is Mark with Student of Life, and I'm going to put this on my Professor M channel. That one is more about business economics, finance management, and those kind of things. That's why I wrote my book, The Scrapper. It's to reflect on the way business is done in America and to show a different way it can be done. But I wrote it as a story format to help influence people to see that things don't always have to be black and white. The link for the book will be included in the description. If you're interested, please check it out. I think it's only 16 bucks in America, and it would just really help out with spreading the word in terms of people seeing a new perspective on what it means to actually run business differently and ethically. But I'm doing this video, and I have my voice lowered because it's like 2 in the morning right now. I can't really sleep because I'm a fucking night owl. But I'm doing this video because I just want to share, and I think it's important to share that getting work, like not just any kind of work that you went to college for or specialized in, um, that has a career path and growth and pays well and requires thinking and is just more versatile. Those jobs are difficult to get in the United States specifically. My current situation, I'm only applying for fully remote work, so maybe that bucket in itself is also very difficult and challenging because everyone's applying for remote work. I'm not saying everyone's qualified, but there's just a large pool of applicants, and we all know how fucking lazy HR is, where they just read things as black and white. And most companies, the bigger companies, have a filtering system, so that if you don't have the keywords in your resume, then it's or like HR or hiring managers never get to see it. But the core message of what I want to share is that because I made a video about AI for Professor M, basically saying to stop worrying about it. It's always been hard to get something good in a good field, in a good career, that requires a college degree potentially, or just higher level faculties, higher value things. Those have always been difficult from my experience. Even back in college, I graduated with my bachelor's in 2019, I believe. And prior to graduating, I applied to over 100, or I think 100 internships, got rejected by all of them because all of them want 5 years of experience from college students, of course, because that's logical. And it was very hard to get something. I did many interviews, learned from my mistakes. Of course, I made mistakes. However, I only needed one out of that 100 to get my foot in the door, which then gave me a foundation with experience to then land my next job. And then that helped with the next one. And that's usually how it goes. So I want to just share the statistics and the numbers for myself. And if you're someone looking for work, if you're a newly graduate, if you're someone looking to transition to a new industry, which is what I'm doing, if you're just having trouble finding something within a career path that pays well, and like that's kind of the assumption, pays well, good career path, provides flexibility, is in the office, that kind of stuff. So far in the past 5 weeks, I've applied to 180 places. These are fully remote positions, and I'm focusing specifically within analyst roles. I have my master's in business, but it was a focus on finance, data science, operations, that kind of stuff. and I would apply to operations analyst, business analyst, financial analyst, FP&A, financial planner, and analyst, and different positions. And I applied initially to, sorry, I'll just go through the numbers. So I applied to 180 in the last 5 weeks, and then I got rejected by 60 so far. I keep track of them. I have an inbox in my Gmail, like a folder that is called Rejections, and every rejection I have, I just put it in there, and it helps me keep track of the numbers. And I've had one interview so far. I was supposed to have another one last week, but then they froze hiring for whatever reason. I'm not even going to speculate to be like AI is taking over everything. So those are the numbers. And initially, what I did, like strategically, was not really much. I had my resume already made, and it worked out more or less for me. And I applied with that for the first 80. Got rejection. Sometimes very fast rejections, which then told me that the screening system, ATS, I forget what it stands for. Basically, like that feedback told me that I'm not passing that screening process for some companies. So then I readjusted. This time I used GPT or Grok or Claude to then optimize my resume for the ATS, for the keywords within specific industries, and then I created, and then I had that resume, and then I applied for another 50, got one result. And then what I did then was create separate resumes per analyst or industry field or career field. So I have a financial analyst resume, I have an insurance analyst resume, I have a operations analyst resume, and I use those to apply to their respective role that's being put on Indeed or LinkedIn or whatever. And that one helped because I within so I was up to 150 at this point, and then I applied to another 30 with that method, and I got one interview, but it didn't happen. So some success there. I currently, so my main goal is to shift into the insurance industry within the analyst role. So right now I'm going to be focusing more on the analyst aspect to get into the insurance industry. And one thing that I did was complete the associates in general insurance, where I studied for a week and did the exam online and passed. And that will be something added to my resume to show the industry that I'm serious in terms of transitioning to work with them. And the core of what I'm trying to get at, because I just keep seeing this shit like on LinkedIn or on YouTube, especially with the AI doom and gloom stuff, which I just want to like put that aside for a second and just explain that getting something, a job within a career, especially one that you want, that is very specific, is hard as fuck and has always been hard as fuck. It's never been easy. Sure, it gets easier over time if you've been within the industry, but if you want to transition, like I'm 32, I have my master's, and that doesn't mean shit. There are people like you, if you're watching, you just graduated college, for example, and it's still hard as fuck. And I think the story or the feedback that I get when I see this is that it doesn't matter what phase you're in, whether you're in the beginning of your career, in the middle of your career, transitioning careers, trying to grow within your career, that luck is the number one factor. And the whole thing about creating your own luck, what that just means is that it's a numbers game. If I apply 1,000 places within the Z fucking been in Germany too long, um, within the direction that I want to go in, then something will stick just by the law of averages. Um, Something has to stick. And if it's not, then you just adjust as you go. But it's never been easy to get something ever. Um, and that's something I think is important for people to take away at whatever stage you're in. Um, and the reason it's hard is for many reasons. There's hundreds of applicants. Again, I'm not a big fan of HR as a department. I think they suck. I think that they can't, they're not capable of seeing things in shades of gray. They just see things as black and white. Like, if this candidate doesn't fit exactly what was told here, then therefore it doesn't, like, you're out, which is stupid. Like, someone that works in project management in construction should has the skill to then transition to software, for example. The principles are still the same. Yeah, you're dealing with different personalities and you're dealing with a different industry. However, the skills, the management skills to manage a project are more or less the same. You got a budget, you got time, you got people to deal with, you got bullshit to deal with internally and externally with customers, documentation, liabilities, etc. And I think, in my opinion, the standard of HR across America is it just sucks. It's stupid, and it doesn't help to complain. It just helps to play the game. And the game they play is, do you fit exactly like what we're asking for? And if you think or are close to it, then the answer is yes. Like, yes. Are you advanced in Excel? Yes. What does that mean? It means different things for different roles. But if you've been working on Excel for a while, like, being advanced means different things. Like, for many industries or many positions, being advanced in Excel is like, can you use pivot tables, which is not that fucking hard to use. And you learn it in like 5 minutes. So that's kind of my rant, something to share, which is that, number one, it's a numbers game. Number two, it's always been hard to get something. Number three, get the fuck after it and stop complaining, because if you're 20 or 30 or 40, it's going to be the same fucking story of, it's hard to get something that I want specifically for my goals, for what I need. It's never been easy. However, you just adjust and you just keep going. And that's what I hope to keep doing. And I will just keep you guys updated on what the next steps are or what has been happening. I'm currently unemployed. I just traveled 20 countries. It's all the world. And I'm back to being a productive member of society. And it's never been easy, and it's never going to get easier. So just get after it, keep applying, adjust your tactics, and you'll get in and get somewhere. And stop blaming, in this case, I just want to say, stop blaming machines and rich people and all this shit. Like, it it has always sucked. So just go. All right, that's all I got. Peace.